years, Donald Trump engaged in deceptive business practices and tremendous fraud. Donald Trump falsely, knowingly inflated his net worth by billions of dollars to unjustly enrich himself, his family, and to cheat the system. Donald Trump may have authored the art of the deal, but he perfected the art of the steal.
Wait a minute, hold on.
Welcome to Unsanctioned.
Do you know what a rhino is? A rhino may be the lowest form of human life.
And you've been convicted, then that should stay.
So then, but to the question though, do you disagree with Trump saying he's going to free those who've been charged?
I do not think people who committed violent acts on January 6th should be freed.
So you disagree with that? He's been saying that for months. Rana, why not speak out earlier? Why just speak out about that now?
When you're the RNC chair, you kind of take one for the whole team, right? Now I get to be a little bit more myself, right? This is what I believe.
Apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Oh yeah, it sure doesn't fall far from the tree, and I think what we really are trying to say is that it doesn't fall from the rhinos behind very far. Ronna McDaniel is the worst example of Republican leadership. The fact that she could stay as the RNC chair is mind-boggling. The fact that she's been there so long. The fact that she was allowed to spend $700,000 on flower arrangements while only spending $30,000 on some of the election stuff is crazy. This is somebody who should have been out the door the minute she walked in.
Yep, absolutely.
You know, and here's the problem, right? This is the problem with Republican leaders. She says, "Oh, well, as RNC chair, I had to take one for the team." No, you don't have to, unless you're prioritizing your career and your job more than you're prioritizing the people of the United States, right? That's what it's about. So, if anything, she should have been, speaking her mind and talking about it, because that's the truth that we want. We want people who are honest and people who have conviction. And that's the problem with these Republicans. They're so fear to lose power that they're not willing to speak their true thoughts to people, right? I mean, and that's a big time here in Osceola County. You know, we have all these people that behind a curtain, behind a door, in a secret closet that we have pictures of some of them just coming out of, in fact, which we'll talk about on the Florida show. But, you know, they will say, "Oh, I love Trump." I bet you get him out in public and they're like, "Oh, I don't like Trump." Wow. And let me say something about the January 6th, and let's talk about Letitia a little bit. January 6th, if we're going to prosecute the people who did violence, then we would be prosecuting the guy who shot Ashley Babbitt, right? That's the guy who really should be prosecuted. As far as I know, not that much violence was going on. They lied. When there's violence going on, you don't have to lie about the repercussions of that violence, because people are suffering from injuries. There were no injuries in this situation except for the patriots who were going into the Capitol. Yeah. So, you know, and I'm not afraid to say that. I think that absolutely January 6th, everybody needs to be pardoned. If you broke a window, that you have a felony charge for trying to disrupt the process or something like crazy like that, then yeah, they need to refile charges based on what should have been filed. Trespassing, breaking and entering, things like that, right? That's what they should have. If you had done that, it would not be a story today. Republicans wouldn't care that they were going to jail. Oh, you broke in the Capitol building, so you get a charge, trespassing on federal property, doing this, whatever, fine. But they're trying to paint these people as insurrectionists and domestic terrorists. Yeah. No, American people are not going to buy that.
Well, that's why they hid the videos for so long.
That's why they hid the videos. You're right.
You know, they didn't want people to see how peaceful it was. They didn't want people to see the Capitol Police letting people into those buildings.
They didn't want to see the tour guides.
And then, you know, they released some of the videos and people saw it and they were like, huh, all right, what is this? But, you know, those videos killed the narrative. They killed that narrative that there was an insurrection, that this was an uprising, There was no people with guns. There was no people, with any kind of weapons of any sort trying to break into that building. It's a sham. It's a hoax.
It's a sham. It's a hoax. Absolutely. That's
garbage.
Exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. And I can't wait for us to actually get justice. I can't wait for that justice to come.
Well, hopefully it's in November of this year.
Well, November doesn't come soon enough, right? I mean,
No doubt.
When November comes, I'm expecting justice of all different sorts. I want justice for the 3-letter agencies that have ruined our country. I want justice for organizations like Facebook.
Yeah.
I want justice for organizations like the people who are leading Twitter. This guy, what's his name? The crypto guy who was in jail, got in big trouble. Samuel
Bankman-Fried.
Yep, Bankman-Fried. That guy got 20 years today.
Yeah.
So 20 years isn't enough time. If that wasn't a regular American citizen, he would have gotten 50.
Yeah.
So I mean, I want to see the kind of justice that we would expect from the regular common person. So.
Yeah, I want some of the justice. I want some of the justice that's coming out of Russia, but we'll talk about that later.
Exactly, that's a great.
We'll talk about that later.
So.
Anyway, welcome to Unsanctioned America.
Yeah, welcome to Unsanctioned America. I think that we're going to talk about. We want to talk about Letitia a little bit, but let's do it quick. I don't know what's going on with this mic. Does he hear that?
No, it's all right to me.
Okay, well, yeah, welcome to Unsanctioned America. This is episode 222. Let's go over some of the things that we're going to talk about. Then we'll do our quick prayer, and then we'll get right down into the show. So yeah, P. Diddy messing with some young kiddies, right? That's a big story coming out. Letitia eats her words, crow and pie. We might as well save it for that story. What we're going to say. Biden admin allows ISIS rebirth, and we just saw that take place in Russia, right?
Yeah.
House Republicans perform terrorism domestically with their $1.2 trillion omnibus bill, which leads to Mike Johnson on the chopping block. RINO Romney McDaniel exposed herself, so you thought that just that little Romney segment? No, we got more to talk about with Romney. And then Secretary Booty says that racism causes our bridge collapse, that racism is what has to be fixed, not an old bridge, not our failing steel industry, not anything real, but in his imagination, racism caused that bridge to fall down.
That guy is a live example of a DEI hire.
He's a DEI hire right there, yeah. People have been talking about the DEI hire of Baltimore, right? The mayor of Baltimore. I don't know much about him. I don't know if he's a legit mayor, if he's a DEI issue. But we do know that small-town mayor Pete Booty is absolutely a DEI big.
Yeah.
Planet Fitness gets slimmer. I guess they're getting on their own medicine there. And more on this episode of Unsanctioned America. So... thank you so much for joining us. Please like and share the show. We're going to say a quick prayer today. Today is Holy Thursday. We're recording on Holy Thursday, right? Yeah. So today is the day that, well, let's get our prayer. Lord God, thank you so much. We know that tomorrow we will not be celebrating, but we will be commemorating your sacrifice for all of humanity. We know that today you will, at some point throughout the day, you will have your Last Supper. You will instill the washing of the feet, which is something that we've talked about on the show before, that's the true life of a servant leader, is someone who's willing to wash the feet. And today is the day that we commemorate your sampling demonstration of that love for each other. We are truly grateful. We're going to enter into this Easter Sunday season. Easter is it's one of my favorite holidays, Lord, and I am truly blessed and redeemed by you. We are both grateful for you. We're both grateful for the opportunity to be Americans. I think Easter and July 4th are very similar days. One is the liberation of the mind and spirit and soul of humanity, and the other one is the liberation of the American continent from England, and those two things are very similar in nature. And because this country is inspired by your divine acts. And so, Lord, we just wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you. And we hope that you continue to bless this country and raise great men, inspire great men to do great things again. In your son's name, Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
So, man, it's Easter season. This mic is killing me here. I hear it. It might be my headphones. I don't know. Something.
All right. Well, we'll
There's
just
always something, right?
Yeah, we'll transition to the news and maybe we'll check it out.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
All right. So while John's messing with his mic, You know, a lot's coming out about P. Diddy and what's going on. We do have a small little video package about P. Diddy and what's happening there. But
And what
the signs were always there.
The signs were always there. What a strange character it is, I think. In my opinion, this is a very, very... Oops, see what I'm saying?
We'll play the video. You mess with that.
Yeah. Does anything like... I don't know.
And he's in... You ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. You know, I have been given custody of him. You know, he signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when you know he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy.
We're going crazy.
Breaking news right now, we're following the Department of Homeland Security conducting a raid at a house in Holmby Field Hills, believed to be connected to Sean Combs, the rapper and music executive, perhaps being linked to a sex trafficking investigation.
It's God's side and the other side. And we don't care nothing about the other side. Period. All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light.
I need to have another one of these.
Amen.
Gee.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I saw some of that interview, right? And I was like, man, this guy is, what he's doing, Cat Williams, what he's doing is he's forecasting that they know, people have known. And now it's separating. The people have been silent. I think that maybe in Hollywood, they were giving people the impression that this was okay. Right? This is okay. The American people know about it. It's all okay. It's no big deal. It's a big secret. No. Well, now everything's coming to the light. I think that we know now there's a gigantic problem in Hollywood. You want to know why we're sexualizing books in schools? People have been sexualizing the movie industry, the media industry for decades, right? And the more that's what they want for our school kids, I think. Yeah. The deviancy that we have in Hollywood, they'd love to pass it down to the schools. So this guy's being super brave. He's telling you what's up, and then we see this happen at this guy P. Diddy. What is Deshaun Combs is his name? Yeah, right?
Puff Daddy.
Puff Daddy. All these stupid names that they come up with. In the end, I think that all of those are what they are is they're telling you in advance we're fake. This is all fake, right? It's all smoke and mirrors. And now you realize that sometimes that fake is harmless and sometimes that fake is evil, right? No. They're deceiving you. So obviously this is evil. I don't know. We'll see what happens in this case. We'll see if he's convicted of a crime at some point or anything like that. But who in their right mind would send their 15-year-old kid to be with some rapper for 48 hours of buck naked crazy?
Yeah, well, right? That's the question right there, John, is who in their right mind would send their kid, 15, 16, any minor, why would you send them for 48 hours to go stay with P. Diddy, especially when there was rumors about him from way back when? I mean, even before that Bieber video, which was years ago, people have been talking about him and things. He had custody of Usher when Usher was a child.
Yep.
Which is very strange.
That's strange. It's very strange. It's absolutely strange. And it's horrifying that we would even entertain that people would do that. Why are these parents? If there's a crime and some crime, I get it. Now, Justin Bieber, a billionaire, multinational star, some big shot, he may not even care anymore what happened that weekend. But the parents should care.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? The parents should care there. But they care more about getting rich apparently than they cared about their son.
Yeah.
You know, never would I sacrifice my children to these to these celebrities, to these celebrity fake stars.
Yep, and you see this all over. You see this with Britney Spears and other
and look how
child
messed up
actors.
they are.
Yeah, and they all come out really messed up. You know, we're talking, you know, when it comes down to it, John, we're talking about people with enormous amounts of money, enormous amounts of time on their hands. They get involved in these things. You know, they're talking about P. Diddy, that he had cameras all over his house. He would throw these parties and hire a bunch of hookers and a bunch of people and have them come and do things that they wouldn't normally do, catch it on camera and blackmail them, kind of like Epstein. It's really disturbing, disturbing what goes on in Hollywood. And, you know, as long as you keep spending your money buying tickets to their movies, buying DVDs or you know, whatever they do to stream them nowadays, I guess you spend money to do that. As long as you keep supporting them, they'll keep having this money to do these crazy things. And, you know, John, it's not just in Hollywood. You know, they say that, you know, oh, it's all Hollywood. But we see signs of that here in our own backyard.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely. And I was going to say the same thing. We see the same stuff with elected officials here.
Yeah.
Right? It's the elected officials are the same.
We've seen the stories coming out of Florida
Yep.
of things that are going on, and we have a place right here in Kissimmee that supports things like this sexual deviancy. It's outrageous.
Yeah, it really is. Well, I mean, let's see what happens. We're gonna have to see what happens.
We'll keep up on that story, and we'll talk more about it as it comes out. Russia had a horrible terrorist attack. The death toll was 133 in this terror attack. 11 suspects arrested. ISIS-K, which grew under the Biden regime, the years of the Biden administration. You know, President Trump had eliminated ISIS. They have come back under Biden, and they have claimed responsibility for this. This is one of the most deadly attacks in Russia's history. Here's a little video. And you can see what was going down there that day. They did throw some explosives. You know, it was 133 people that died. Russia's top state investigative agency said authorities are saying they have apprehended 11 suspects, 4 of whom were reported to be directly involved. President Vladimir Putin addressed the shocked nation in a televised broadcast on Saturday, slamming the massacre as a bloody, barbaric terrorist act. He declared Sunday, March 24th, a day of mourning. All 4 direct perpetrators of the terrorist attack, all of those who shot and killed people, were found and detained. They were trying to hide and move towards Ukraine, where, according to preliminary data, a window was prepared for them to cross over to Ukraine, which is, you know, I know they had said some things about possibly Ukraine being involved, but as I said, you know, ISIS has claimed responsibility for this attack. They did this on social media, and the U.S. has said that there's intelligence confirming that. Russia's investigative committee said it has opened a criminal probe into the attack. And these 4 guys that they busted, John, that they found that they were directly responsible, they did not have a good time, John, after they were busted. Here's a picture of them as they appeared in court in Russia, and you can see that the Russian police and the Russian officials showed them no mercy. You know, they showed them a FAFO mentality and an FAFO reality, and that's just what they looked like when they went to court. The one guy at the top left there, you can see he had a really bad time. I saw a video, John, where, and this is just a screenshot of this video. You can't see the entire picture, but I will bring this up so you can see everything in the picture. That is a battery right there on the ground. And there are wires, and they are going to this man's manhood. Okay? So, he had his manhood electrocuted over and over again by the Russian feds. And you know what, John? I think that if we did similar practices to these types of people that come into our country and try to terrorize our citizens, we would see less of them.
I mean, I'm in favor of doing that to politicians who who do what they do. If you pass a $1.2 trillion omnibus bill, I'm more than happy to hook up a battery to your genitals. I mean, if they, why half of these politicians think it's okay to chemically castrate kids anyway, so why not electrically castrate some of these politicians who deserve it? So
yeah, and definitely. I mean, we can transition right into that next story because just like you said, $1.2 trillion, John, this Republican House passed to avert this government shutdown. And really, who cares if the government gets shut down? I mean, I don't. I know you don't. I think most people don't even think about it. But yeah, they passed it at midnight. It was 1,008 pages.
It's crazy. It's crazy that they would do this.
Very, very disappointing. Very disappointing. The House did pass this. It was bipartisan. It averted the shutdown, but there were more Republicans that voted against it than for it. It was expedited to the floor via the suspension rule, and it bypassed procedural hurdles in exchange for raising the threshold for passage from a simple majority to 2/3. It passed by 286 to 134. Like I had said, more Republicans voted against the bill than for it. 112 GOP lawmakers opposed the bill, and 106 voted for it. Just 22 Democrats voted against it. And this is some of the stuff that was in this bill. So if you want to know why more Republicans voted against it, here it is. $850,000 for a gay senior home. $15 million.
Great. Now Buttigieg has a retirement plan, or a vacation villa somewhere.
Yeah, he was looking for a place to go. $15 million to pay for Egyptians' college tuitions.
Wow.
Yep. $400,000 for a gay activist group to teach elementary kids about being trans. How nice.
That's exactly what we need.
$500,000 for a DEI zoo, an anti-racist nature appreciation program.
Oh my God.
$400,000 for a group that gives clothes to teens to help them hide their gender. $1.5 billion to the Green New Scam.
Wow.
$300 to $500 million to Ukraine Secretary Assistance Initiative.
So they ended up getting another $500 million at the very least.
Yeah. Continues funding Joe Biden's border invasion. 12,000 Afghan special immigrant visas and authorization to support loans to the International Monetary Fund.
Okay, so basically, this is very interesting because you could have 12,000. They didn't bother to save the interpreters that were U.S. Army interpreters during Afghanistan, right?
No.
But they're going to bring the Taliban, 12,000 Taliban to the United States. Great.
Yeah. I mean, and it just goes on, John. You know, benefits for illegals, late-term abortion funding, DEI funding initiatives, and a new FBI headquarters.
Unbelievable.
You know, wow, that's great for them, right?
Yeah, they deserve it. They really deserve it.
It should be in Haiti.
Yeah.
But
I'm willing to pay $1.2 trillion to send the FBI to Haiti.
Yeah. You know, Representative Eli Crane had something to say about this, and I thought this was perfect. Here it is.
I'm definitely not as eloquent as many of my colleagues up here. First, I want to speak to the politicians up here that are going to vote for this. Like many of my colleagues have said, you own it. All the garbage, all the funding for borders overseas, but you won't lift a finger to stop the invasion at our southern border. Here's the deal, guys. The American people, though they may be busy running their businesses, raising their families, they are busy, but they're not dumb. And they are gracious. They don't expect us to win every fight. They know that we're outnumbered up here. But here's the deal. They do expect us to fight. And that is something that this party has refused to do time and time again. And it's one of the most frustrating things to be a part of. We know what the Democrats are going to do. They're going to destroy the country. They're driving us off the cliff at 95 miles per hour. Well, guess what? Our solution, the Republican Party, we're going to dial that down to 90 miles per hour, but we're still driving this thing off the cliff. Just we're backing it down a couple degrees, and it's pathetic. All right? Pick a principled fight. I don't know, maybe like the border invasion. I hear leadership say it's the hill we're going to die on. Really? Do you even know what that means? That means you got to take a hill and be willing to die on it. I don't see it. And until I see it, I'm not going to be like a lot of politicians up here and be a cheerleader for it. Because it's garbage and it's destroying this country. It's destroying the future for my kids and your kids. Now I want to speak really quickly to the American people. I know you're busy. I know it's hard out there. I know you're being killed by inflation. I know many of you have lost your kids to fentanyl. If you want to help us, start paying attention. And please, quit sending politicians up here who come to your town, who come to your Lincoln Reagan Day dinner, talking about fiscal responsibility, border security, and then they vote on this crap repeatedly. You can help us. Quit sending them up here. Because in case you guys haven't noticed, we are radically outnumbered. It's always the same names. It's always the same names of people trying to stop it. And it's always the same names, unfortunately, who talk a good game in the media and back at home in their districts. And then they come up here and they vote for this crap, hoping that you don't pay attention. You can help us. Clearly, I'm a hell no on this.
Yeah. Clearly, he was a hell no, and the whole Freedom Caucus voted against it, John. But here are the people that did vote for it, and if you see your representative on there,
let them have it.
Yeah, please.
Let them have it.
Please let them have it.
Let's pick out the Florida.
Let's see Florida. Diaz-Balart.
Yep.
Dunn. Jimenez. Lee. Laurel Lee. And we'll be talking about her on the Florida show. Rutherford, Salazar. So those are the Florida reps who voted for this. And if you see your state in there, please look at them and really consider voting for someone else.
No kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding.
I see Scalise voted for it. That's
I'm not
disappointing.
surprised at Scalise. And here, in the end, we realize, because you got to wonder what Johnson is thinking, right? What is he thinking when he's doing this? What is he thinking when he's allowing it? And here's what he's thinking. This is the hard place that he's in. You have to win Republican elections. And if you want the money from the PACs and from the lobbyists to win these elections, right? Because it's not American people who are running these elections by and large. It's basically these PACs and this money that comes from these corporate donors that donate the big PACs, and then those big PACs give a whole bunch of money and they spend money and it's all them, right? So all of a sudden you want to beat the Democrats without the money that's needed to do it, because the RNC, like the Republican Party's not generating a lot of money from the citizens. Why? Because they're a bunch of weak-spined, rhinos, right? They're just not the people that we send up there to fight. So the Republican Party's not generating a lot of income. Trump's campaign might be, right? But the party, less and less people, fewer and fewer people are donating to the party because they just don't trust that the party has their interests at heart. They want to preserve their jobs. No. And what we want, what American people want, and people can feel free to correct me, argue with me, whatever, but my impression is that the American people want someone up there who's going to fight regardless of whether or not they lose their election. And that's just not what we have. We have people that they like it so much. They like wearing the pin so much. They like being up in D.C. so much. They like the cuisine in D.C. so much. They like being in a black SUV so much that they're not willing to sacrifice the job. They're only willing to sacrifice to the extent that it doesn't cost them the election. And so that's what they do. They're threatened with the election, right? And so that's the problem. What we need is fighters. Damn the election, right? Forget the election. Damn the election. Just go up there and fight for 2 years, and I guarantee you every one of your citizens is going to come out and vote for you, whether you raise $1 million or not.
Yeah.
But that's what you got to do, and just stay clean. Stay out of the whorehouses. Stay out of this grotesque situations and environments that people seem to get trapped in up there.
Yeah.
And then you'll win your election.
That same pervasive society that we talk about in Hollywood, it's in DC too.
Also.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so this prompted Marjorie Taylor Greene, John, to file a motion to vacate House Speaker Johnson, and this is what she had to say.
Taken a very serious step here to change perhaps the course of your conference in the House of Representatives. What seems to be going on?
Well, this is a complete betrayal of Republican voters across the country. I entered the motion to vacate this morning after Mike Johnson brought part 2 of an omnibus to the House floor this morning and forced all of us to vote on a bill that would fund abortion up until full term, that doesn't do anything to secure our border. And this comes after people are seeing this video that's horrifying to every single American, where there's a large group of military-aged men, illegals, rushing the border, running over Border Patrol, running over the National Guard. Speaker Johnson totally gave up every ounce of authority he had as House Speaker to use this funding of the government to secure the border for the American people, and it is way past time. He also violated the 72-hour rule. He forced all of us to vote on a bill without amendments. We had no choice. We couldn't introduce amendments. We couldn't fight for the values of our districts. And we had to vote on a bill in one day that had 1,012 pages. These are breaking our conference rules. This is not what Republicans want from a Republican Speaker of the House. And he's basically handed over control to Chuck Schumer.
Now, I don't disagree with the reasons she brought up, John. I don't disagree with those whatsoever, but the reality of what she did and whether that's really going to come to pass, I mean, I don't see it.
Well, I don't think that he's going to be removed.
No.
We all saw the big fight. We're on the verge of losing the majority in the House of Representatives, right? Republicans are down to like 1 or 2. McCarthy left, so he's going to be replaced in a special election. Then we'll get one bump, right? But by and large, there's a whole bunch of RINOs that are leaving office so that they give the majority to the Democrats.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
So, these people should be, they should be expelled. They should be expelled from office. And, but unfortunately, it's not the way things work. Things they don't work as smoothly or as cleanly as we would like. But I wish that he would be removed. If we had a majority, let's say if we had a majority of 50, right? I'd say get rid of them. Get rid of them. Put Matt Gaetz in there next.
Yeah.
Right? Put somebody in there that's going to keep their word, that's going to live up to their word, their promise to the American people. And if you don't put somebody in there that lives up to the word that they've given to the American people, then get rid of them. It's okay. Forget it. If you can't handle the power, if you can't handle the responsibility, don't give it to them. And it's not about these elections. Listen, these RINOs will never win an election. That's why they're leaving. They're not leaving because they're tired. Like a lot of people say, oh, we're tired of it, we're this, we're that. No. They're leaving because they don't have an ant's chance of being reelected in their districts by Republicans, right?
Yeah.
So that's why they're leaving. And they're leaving in the way that they are to sabotage the Republican Party, and that's exactly why they would never be, because they're basically been exposed for who they are.
Yeah.
Right? That's why they can't win an election any longer. That's why McCarthy's leaving. That's why they're all leaving. They're all going to be primaried. I just wish that the Republican Party would at some point acknowledge that there is a change in identity with the Republican Party, with conservatives across the nation, and then accept that. And instead of being manipulative bastards that they are and changing things and hiding things and playing politics all over the place, that they would just embrace the change. Because that same change, the people who can embrace the change are the same people that embraced the change during the foundings of the Republican Party when it was an abolitionist movement, right? And people had to change. You had to change, and you had to say, is this what our identity is going to be? Yeah, this is what our identity is going to be. Are we going to fight a war, a civil war over our identity like this for the country? Yes, we are. We're going to do that. Okay, well, fine. Let's do it. The people are on board, right? And Abraham Lincoln won 2 elections because of it. Not easy, but they won. And they won with the people. And it's the same thing now. Well, we're on the verge of historical problems. People, leaders, all the people that we trust are now talking about the black swan incidents that's about to happen. And if we can't have leadership that we trust, then forget it. Then there's chaos, there's anarchy, right? Because one big black swan event that happens, we can't trust the government. In fact, we suspect the government before anybody else. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be terrorists here on our ground. Well, who brought the terrorists here? Biden did, in his back pocket.
Yeah.
So we right now what we need to do is be able to trust our leaders. And if these guys can't even stand up to a bunch of lobbyists over money, then, I mean, forget it. Forget it. What good is the government? We're getting very close to the rights that we have in the Constitution of replacing the government that we've created.
Yeah.
And it's happened before. It's happened before, right? It's not like the United States Constitution is not the first version of government in the United States. Right? The Articles of Confederation was. So now we may have taken 200 and something years, that maybe we are looking at a rewriting of history and future.
Yeah, it's the sad truth, John. It's the sad truth. All right, so we touched upon it at the top of the show. First, Rana was in at NBC and MSNBC, and then 2 days later, Rana was out. And she was out because the liberal left-wing pundits, Rachel Maddow, The Morning Schmo, Chuck Todd, and several others were very upset with her hiring. And, the question, John, is why would they be so upset when she was positioning herself to become one of them? We talked a little bit about it before the show. Why would they be so against Rana? Why would they be so against, especially since they brought in Michael Steele? He was a former RNC chair. He became a good stooge for them, to bring on the air.
Michael Steele was an anti-Trump guy. He was a neocon from the very beginning. He was the token guy for, for that group, that whole period of Republicanism. He was legit. He was always a not Trump guy.
Yeah.
Right? So Ronna McDaniel, she played the Trump. Ronna McDaniel is a chameleon. Okay, you can see she looks like a chameleon right now with that makeup job. But she was a chameleon in terms of her political ideology. She was willing to say anything to stay in power while doing something completely else. She was essentially like a member of Congress. Okay, and that's the way she was behaving. So saying one thing, doing something completely different. And in the end, she got exposed for it. The people, number one, they couldn't raise money. Number two, the people were begging for her head. Yeah. Okay, so she was not going to last. Nobody would have given $1. So even the corrupt people in the RNC were like, Rana, if you stay, we won't raise $1. He's like, you got to go, right? So she left. She goes to the show. She exposes her true colors, right?
Yeah.
And her true colors are, I'm Mitt Romney's niece.
Yeah.
Right. And then you realize, oh, no wonder we spent $700,000. I keep saying that, right? Like people keep hearing. I had somebody say, you always talk about the $700,000 in Florida and flower arrangements. She actually did that. I'm not making. It's not a joke that I'm making, right? It's like she actually did that, and it still boggles my mind that on some of the election initiatives, she spent $30,000, but more than $700,000 on flower arrangements. So you can't, when you do something like that, it's called sandbagging.
No.
Right? Instead of spending that almost $750,000 getting Republicans elected, they were spending money against Republicans. So it's just, it is what it is, and it's time for her to go, and I'm glad that she didn't get to keep her job there. And the funny thing is what they said about it. The guy Condi, the CEO or chairman or whatever of NBC News or wherever it is that she was, this crazy person, he was saying that, we value diverse opinions and we're a journalist organization and we diverse. But even more than that, we value cohesiveness in the newsroom and everybody has to be on the same page. Well, how can you do both?
No, you can't.
You can't do both. You have to be willing to stand there. It's like me. How many times have I invited Brandon Arrington onto the show. 100A, Brandon Arrington, please, I'd love to have you sitting here between me and Tom. You'd probably enjoy it more than we would, but nonetheless, come on the show, sit here. We'd love to interview you and let you say whatever you want, right? Our demand isn't that you agree with us.
No.
Right? Our demand is transparent. Let's have the conversations in public. Be who you really are, right? Even if it is a mutt. Be who you really are and let everyone have their opinions about it and let people judge. But that's not how you stay in power. You stay in power by being a lying, deceitful, moronic person, and that's exactly who they are at the end of the day.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think that's what it is, John. I think it was her endorsement of Trump on her way out of the RNC that really sealed the deal for the liberals over at MSNBC. They had a fit. They were losing their minds. The other rhinos, like I talked about, Michael Steele, you see they accept him. Alyssa Farah Griffith, they accept her, because they are never Trumpers. Yeah. They're going to toe the line as far as it goes with Trump.
Right? Like on The View, who do they have? What's her name? She's from Nicaragua. I can't even remember her name. Anna
Navarro, yeah.
So Anna Navarro, she's not a real Republican. Just because you have the title, same thing. What was the other one? What was
McCain's daughter.
Yeah. Yeah, right? Come on. Give me a break. Is she really a Republican? No, they're neocons, and that neocon stage of the Republican Party is now dead. No. So they're forced, this is the telltale sign. When they're forced to choose between the new Republican Party and the old Republican Party, they switch to Democrat.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the only thing you're allowed. When it comes down to it, are you a Democrat or are you part of this new American movement and they'd rather be a Democrat? And then that's what tells you that these people have been deceiving us all along.
Yeah. Really sad what happened with the Baltimore Bridge, John. Just unbelievable. Unbelievable. But, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says government must tear down barriers to rebuild that Baltimore Bridge. And this is what he had to say, John.
Underpass was constructed such that a bus carrying mostly black and Puerto Rican kids to a beach, or it would have been, in New York was designed too low for it to pass by, that obviously reflects racism that went into those design choices. I don't think we have anything to lose by confronting that simple reality, and I think we have everything to gain by acknowledging it and then dealing with it, which is why the Reconnecting Communities, that $1 billion, is something we want to get to work right away.
So is he saying that he knocked down that bridge on purpose because he believes that racism built that bridge?
No, he said.
What he said, that the bridge was built too low for a bus with people of color to go through it.
Yeah, he's using that as an example, and it's like, really?
Really? Yeah. This is ridiculous. Our country is in a ridiculous place right now. Look, first of all, Secretary Booty is the DEI pick of the century.
Yeah.
Right? Some small town guy, now he's the Secretary of Transportation. Under him, we've had trains derailing every other week, on fire, cities on fire literally. We've had boats sinking, airplanes falling out of the sky, airports shutting down. Now we have a cargo ship running into a bridge, knocking a bridge out of the air while there's cars traversing it.
Yeah.
Okay, can you imagine the horror of being on that bridge, driving across that bridge when it falls into the waterway? It's crazy. This is this guy's when they talk about a historic cabinet, man, it really is historic.
Yeah.
It's historic. None of those things, not more than 3 of those
historically
many
bad
things have happened under one secretary in my lifetime.
No.
And they are all happening under Booty. So how does that happen? How does that happen? And now you're talking about, oh, well, you know what? I don't really regret it falling into the ocean. It's a horrible tragedy, but racism built that bridge.
Wow.
No, what is he talking about?
Unbelievable.
Racism did not build that bridge. White men, black men, Hispanic men built that bridge with their own hands. And they built that bridge, and people, white men, black men, white women, black women, Hispanic women, and men have been driving across that bridge, using it to get to work. There's more black people crossing that bridge to get to work than there are white people. And you just knocked the bridge out of the air. And now you're talking about racism having torn down the bridge or being part of its construction. it's nonsensical. This is not reality. This is a huge gaslighting project. This is a big psyop, all right? They're using tragedy to basically extend this idea to you that it was negative to begin with.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why he should keep his job, right? Because it's almost a good thing that this happened because racism, right? I mean, this is horrendous.
It's funny kind of how the bridge went down, John. And if you watch the video, we actually have the video of the ship hitting the pillar of the bridge. And you look at this, John, and this was clipped by Brick Suit. If you don't know who Brick Suit is, he's a guy who goes around and he wears a brick suit.
This is not how it happens in real time. So that cargo ship is slow moving. I watched the full length video last night. It's like a 10-minute video. Like this portion that we're watching right now in a few seconds actually takes place over several minutes. Many minutes, okay? I'd say the whole thing was probably 10, 15 minutes long, like this portion. That is a very slow-moving ship. Very slow. It's so slow that you don't see it moving. Like if you closed your eyes, you'd have to count to 30 before it changes position. That's how slow it's moving. So for it to run into this bridge, and those ships carrying so much worth, such a high value of cargo, those are computerized sail systems. They traversed that thing by computer. There's no way that it hit that. I mean, I don't know. I'm not talking conspiracy theories. It boggles the mind that a cargo ship runs into a bridge. It hasn't happened in who knows how long. When was the last time a cargo ship hit a bridge? Because it's not humans.
I don't remember hearing about it.
Right. It happens so rarely, right? And I've never heard of one running into a bridge and knocking a bridge down.
No.
You have to think as an American, what are these things that are happening here, right? What are these things that are happening? A computerized system runs it into the bridge. I wonder if it was hacked, if the ship system was hacked.
Yeah, could
right?
be.
You got to wonder. No. And then there's like a little fire thing. So what was that? What was it? Play that video again. Yeah. Look at this ignition that happens when it hits. See that at the bottom?
Yeah. Right, it's going to do it again.
Yep. Watch the bottom here of the ship underneath that deck line.
Wait a minute. Let me put it back to the beginning.
Yeah, you see that? Did you see that little ignition? Maybe it's a flash of light. I don't know what it is. Certainly, sparks don't fly in that direction, right? Wow. You got to wonder, what is that? And that bridge, although the bridge collapsed very quickly, it hit, and then there was a long amount of time, and then it came down. Wow. So, you got to go look at it and judge for yourself. You got to wonder if this was an act of sabotage. In my opinion, I think it was an act of sabotage because I just don't believe that a cargo ship runs into a bridge. Why doesn't it happen the day before, or the day before that, or the day before that? Why hasn't it happened? Why did it take 3 years of Joe Biden ruining this country for ships to be running into bridges?
Yeah.
So.
All right, John. So before we go on to Across the Nation, we're going to check out this commercial from President Trump.
Another tragic story connected to the border crisis. Travis Wolf was just one day away from celebrating his 12th birthday when a woman who was in the United States illegally from Venezuela crashed head-on into his family's Jeep.
Church teacher accused of abusing several children in Montgomery County, Maryland. Tonight, immigration officials tell us he was never supposed to be in the United States in the first place, and he had already been deported twice.
Palm Beach County deputies arrested 3 undocumented immigrants in Lake Worth Beach on sexual battery charges. According to the arrest affidavit, the 3 suspects, all from Guatemala, abducted a local woman along the street and threw her inside a truck. Authorities say the men drove off and stopped at a nearby intersection where they sexually assaulted her and filmed it.
The leader of a Colombian street gang, Los Antañas, has been arrested in Texas, where he was seeking asylum. Colombian authorities confirmed that he was one of the 7 most wanted murderers in Colombia's capital.
A woman accused in Mexico of several murders and body dismemberments, even removing victims' hearts, is arrested in El Paso. The FBI says Pineda was known for extreme brutality, dismembering bodies, removing hearts, and placing the hearts in front of Santa Muerte statues.
That was a very powerful commercial from President Trump.
That was a crazy ad. So here's the thing. That was, obviously we heard so much about this Trump using the word bloodbath, right? And if you watch the whole thing, it's so clear. Even liberals are like, man, we really can't trust the news anymore. Yeah. Because in his statement, he's talking about, if I lose the election, this is going to be a bloodbath for the automotive industry, right? Meaning that they're going to lose business. They're going to send all these jobs offshore, the EV vehicles, all that stuff. That's what he was talking about. Yeah, there was no threat of violence. He was not talking about violence at all. But in true crazy liberal form, they took the word bloodbath. They were so happy that he said it. And then they did nothing but talk about for like several days. For several days, we were talking about bloodbath, bloodbath, bloodbath all day long. It was a crazy, just amazing.
It was very convenient for them to cut off that one part at the end and then,
and then lie.
Yeah.
And then lie about it, right?
And
lie
that's what they do.
That's
what they do.
Yep.
That's crazy. What they do. But, Latinos are catching on too, John. They scoffed at a CBS News reporter asking if Trump's a threat to democracy. Don't buy that argument.
They don't buy that. Of course, first of all, I've been rolling my eyes at the liberals for years and years and years. Because you're not going to I love my country. I love my country, right? I love the fact that I'm Hispanic too. I'm a very proud Hispanic. I love my culture. I love my languages. I love everything about it. I love going back to Nicaragua and being there. It's beautiful, all that stuff. But I will never sacrifice the United States of America for anything. And certainly my children, right, of which I have 5, I'm not going to sacrifice their country. And so it's incredible that they think that Hispanics are like, oh yeah, forget where we live. Let's just set it all on fire. Even though this is my home, let's set it on fire. Of course they're going to roll their eyes. Trump is not a threat to democracy. You know what's a threat to democracy? Is eggs that we can't afford, milk that we can't afford, the fact that we can't afford to put gas in our cars. That's the real threat to democracy in this country. And it's a threat to Hispanic. It's multilingual. I talked about this last night, by the way. I interviewed General Flynn last night, as you know, and we talked about that. The price of eggs is multilingual. The price of gasoline is multilingual. This is not a culture thing. This is not an ethnic thing. It's not a race thing, right? We all feed our families. Whether you're black or Hispanic or white or Chinese or whatever, you feed your families, right? And when you feed your family, that speaks volumes, and it doesn't require for it to be said in Spanish or English or in any language. The fact is that we're all suffering under Biden.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the difference, John. When you see a person who came here legally, all right, they're going to have a different mindset than someone who came here illegally. A legal immigrant sees what's happening and is like, no, I don't want this because I came here wanting to be an American. And a lot of these people that are coming across the border illegally don't want to come here to be Americans. They just want to come here to use our resources, get kickbacks from our government, and do other things that we don't approve of. So
I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that even the people, well, first of all, we have to separate the people who are coming here illegally, right?
Yeah.
Keep in mind that all these other countries are not sending like their doctors and lawyers, as we mentioned.
No.
They're sending they're emptying their prisons, they're emptying their insane asylums, which they still have, and those are the people that they're sending. That's why that ad is so powerful, because we're being brutalized by the trash that these countries are sending into the United States. And that's what they're sending, right? Yeah. Human trash, human waste. They're coming here. They're going to be abusing Americans, abusing the government, abusing everything that they got, because they don't have a semblance of understanding of what it's like when you cross that border, right? Yeah. So those people, it doesn't matter where they're at. They're always going to be nightmares. Then there's people who are coming here and they want economic freedom. But that's illegal. You can't come here because you want to make more money. That's not a reason to break into the United States. They may be perfectly fine. That person may be perfectly good. It may be a father like me who loves my kids and I want to go. I'm a good Christian man, but I'm going to go find a way, right? Those people come too. But it doesn't matter. The fact is that the United States is not designed to withstand the onslaught of 8 million illegal immigrants. And whatever your reasons are for coming are not sufficient. Whatever your reasons are for coming are not sufficient.
So let's head over to Wyoming real quick, John. And the governor of Wyoming signed a bill outlawing gender reassignment procedures on children, but he did veto abortion restrictions. Abortion is currently legal in Wyoming pending a court decision challenging the state's abortion laws. And here he is. His name is Mark Gordon. He signed this legislation last Friday. This bill will outlaw gender reassignment procedures on children, but he did veto that bill that imposed further restriction on abortion clinics, including required licensure. That's a little strange.
Yeah,
I don't know
gotta
his
wonder
reasoning.
what their reasoning is for this kind of thing, exactly.
The legislation continued on to specify that outlawed medications under the legislation included any of the following prescription drugs that induce transient or permanent infertility, preceded by a list of medications including puberty suppression or blocking prescription drugs to stop or delay normal puberty.
So then you got to wonder, what is his relationship with the pharmaceutical companies, and what pressure, what lobbying did he receive from them?
Yeah.
Was it, like $20 million for his next campaign? Those are the questions that Americans need to be asking, because that's what happens, right? That's what happens. So let's say that you're about to pass a law that says we cannot have puberty blockers, we're not going to have chemical castration of children in this state. Well, then the pharmaceutical company comes, the American Medical Association comes, all of these big high-powered organizations come, and they're like, hey, listen, we're tying about $20 million towards your campaign or against your campaign, right? Either for you or your opponent next come, we're going to come and we're going to hammer you hard. Here it is. Okay, fine. So what are the exceptions that you want to not do this? Well, we want you can sign this law here, it looks strong, but then they take the teeth out, then they do this, then they do that, and whatever. And I'm not even arguing the merits of the law or the problems with the law. I'm just stating that this is how it works. This is why they do. This is why they make these questionable decisions. This is why they can't stand next to their convictions, because they're always worried about elections.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to do this one good thing so I can get reelected, and then I'll do this other thing to appease the people who are footing the bill.
Yeah, exactly.
So Planet Fitness, John. Planet Fitness was in the news, and their stock has plummeted after a woman's membership was canceled for taking a picture of a man in the women's locker room shaving. This is crazy what's going on at Planet Fitness, but don't be too surprised. And I have a couple other things to say about Planet Fitness. But yes, Planet Fitness did see the valuation of their company's stock drop this week after an Alaska gym canceled a woman's membership when she photographed this man using the women's locker room. The company's stock price, which traded at a monthly high of $66.92 on March 7th, plummeted to a low of $56.46 this past Tuesday. The price drop followed an incident in which Patricia Silva encountered this man shaving in the women's locker room. She also claimed in a video posted to Facebook that there was a little girl sitting in the corner. She could have been 12 years old in a towel, kind of freaked out.
Wow.
I was offended. I took a picture of him, she said in this clip. And, God.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just crazy, man. Our gender identity non-discrimination policy states that members and guests may use the facilities that best align with the sincere self-reported gender identity. That's what the gym said in a statement, John. And
so listen, if you go to Planet Fitness, cancel right now.
Yeah.
Cancel your Planet Fitness membership right now. Go to someplace else. Make sure that they understand that you guys are against them. Do not support this gym. Did you hear that testimony? A 12-year-old girl, maybe a child, okay, sitting there in a towel with a man, full-grown old man, okay, taking his clothes off. Come on, is this the America that we live in? It's the America that Democrats want. That's clear. But are we as Republicans going to stand for it, or are we going to stand up and do something? And that involves you got to kick in. Whatever patriots are out there that watch the show, you need to kick in. You need to kick in immediately, because this is not the America that we want.
No, not at all. And, Planet Fitness, they're disgusting for many reasons. This is just probably the biggest one. But not only that, but Planet Fitness is a haven for the homeless as well, John. They use it as their toilet. They use it as their place to get clean. They've caught on that it's only $10 a month have a place where they can shower and get changed. I had gone to Planet Fitness prior, to this, and I've seen homeless in there using the facilities, and it's just, I don't know, just get out of there. Don't go to Planet Fitness anymore.
Don't go to Planet Fitness.
Yeah.
Cancel your membership and let them know why.
Yeah.
Because they're a disgusting corporation that allows men to victimize children in the locker room.
Yeah.
So that they can satisfy a political agenda.
It's unbelievable. All right, so taking it over to Texas, John. A star of the television show Yellowstone was kicked off a flight for allegedly refusing to sit next to a passenger wearing a mask. And this is Forey J. Smith. He plays Lloyd on Yellowstone. Everybody loves him.
I've never seen that show. Is that show any good?
Yeah, it's actually extremely good. It starred Kevin Costner.
That's what turned me off because I don't care about it.
I think he turned off a lot of the fans of Yellowstone too because it's because of him the show is ending because he's has issues of some kind. I don't know what they are, but yeah, the show is coming to an end because of him. But anyway, this is what Forey J. Smith had to say.
People tell me that you like me face to face, but you know what? I can't say face to face what I want. Like I just got kicked off a plane in where the hell am I at? Houston, Texas, because I told them that I didn't feel comfortable sitting next to somebody with a mask on. Yeah, I've been drinking. I've been sitting in the airport for 3 hours.
Yeah, I suspect.
I ain't drunk. But they throw me off the plane because I'm drunk. Because you people won't stand up and tell everybody what bullshit this is. I just told them I didn't feel comfortable about sitting next to somebody that had to wear a mask. And I'm off the plane. Yes, I ain't.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, it's crazy. But here's the thing. Number one, you're not allowed to say that you're not comfortable sitting on a plane with someone. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? You know what? From now on, I'm going to do that. I'm going to immediately, from now on, anytime I'm on a plane, in a public place, I'm going to be like, listen, I'm very uncomfortable with that person with a mask on. By the way, there's a Florida statute. I'm not a lawyer, and, feel free to fact check me. Let me know if there's any lawyers out there, if there's anybody out there who knows police. But there's a state statute that requires you to have your face uncovered when you're carrying a concealed carry permit, right? When you're armed, you're not allowed to cover your face. You're not allowed to wear a mask when you're armed. So the issue for me is, number one, I carry, right? And remember when all those mask things were, when it was crazy?
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of people violating state statute, from my understanding, that they're required. And I guess the people who were challenged, there were some people who were challenged, you're not wearing a mask. Oh, I can't wear a mask because I'm a concealed carry permit holder, right? I'm carrying right now, so I can't wear a mask. So this mask thing is so stupid. And anybody who wears a mask, I feel like you need to ask them, have you taken your medication today at this point?
They're still out there, John. You still see them out there.
I still see them out there. Now, if you're an old person, you're really worried about something, whatever. I'm not gonna mess around with no, older person who's worried about their health and, whatever. There's no point to it. But, I see some young people too that are still dumb enough to fall for this whole mask thing. And
yeah.
It just shows those are not people. I wouldn't want those people flipping my hamburgers.
Yeah. If you could smell a fart through the mask, it's not going to do anything for anything else.
The COVID. If we're talking about COVID specifically, the germ, so to speak, the germ of COVID is smaller than a blood cell. No. So it's not gonna be prevented by the mask. Don't be silly.
No, just forget it.
We talked about all that already.
All right, well, that's it for the show, John. We are done.
Okay, good. What time do we have?
1 hour and 7 minutes.
All right, so I went along on some of those. I went pretty long on some of those things. But listen, thank you for watching. We really appreciate your patronage. We appreciate you watching. We appreciate you liking and sharing. So please do that. Like and share whenever you can. Dialogue. Reach out to us. Talk to us. God bless you. Enjoy your Holy Weekend. It's Holy Thursday, your Good Friday tomorrow, and of course, Easter Sunday. God bless you all. Have a great, great night.
And we'll see you for the Florida show before Easter.